What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 3 of the Milwaukee Brewers Out of the Park Baseball 25 series. And we are here May 15th, 2025. The Brewers are 26-17. And tragedy struck not once, but twice here in the opening month. As you can see, two big injuries here. Carlos Correa was the first one to go out. He tore his PCL in his knee. He was off to a great start for us, too. Really sucks to lose him. He was our big shortstop pickup in the offseason, and he was playing really well, bouncing back after a tough year last year. So unfortunately, he's out for the season. Should be good for next year, but we'll see if he diminishes at all by that point. And then, I mean, the biggest blow you could have had was Jackson Cheerio tearing his PCL as well. And it's an 8-month injury. He went down about 2 weeks ago. He was playing fantastic baseball. And this is just, about as crushing as it gets. Losing like two of our most 5 important players on this team, within the first month of the season. So we've been able to stay afloat, and we've actually been quite good this season, even without them. So far in May, we're 7-6. April was really good. Of course, we lost Churio right at the beginning of the month or end of last month, so things haven't been quite as good without them. But we're staying afloat enough at this point. So, do we have championship upside with this team? Maybe, but things aren't looking amazing at this point. So, one move we made was we DFA'd Jose Quintana. He was pitching really poorly. We wound up releasing him. No one really wanted him, so whatever. That was a waste of $2 million, whatever. We called up Yusei Kikuchi. He wasn't pitching well in AAA or anything, but he's been okay in 4 starts up in the majors. 2 good ones, 2 bad ones. We'll see if he sticks. Definitely a spot we can look to upgrade. Brandon Woodruff's really struggled. Maybe the diminished stamina is killing him, but, we're going to keep rolling him out. He did get hurt for about a week, put him on the IL. Freddie Peralta's really struggled. Had a couple really nice games in a row, and I thought he was turning the corner, and then he had a rough game against Pittsburgh. So definitely not following up his, I think he finished 3rd in Cy Young. I didn't even go over that, but yeah, he finished pretty high in the Cy Young. I think he was 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th. DL Hall, he's had a solid season so far. It's still early, small samples and everything, but about 9 starts in, he's been solid enough. Aaron Ashby's been good. Did have a really tough game last time, but overall he's been solid on the season. The bullpen's been a mixed bag depending on, who you're talking about. Devin Williams has been incredible to start the season. Trevor McGill following up last year with a really good season. The home runs are concerning. But, so far the results have been good. The BABIP's really low. So, there's definitely a world that this turns bad quick, but we'll take the results as they come, as I always say. Then Nick Robertson, he's been excellent. His FIP, everything looks really good. So he's been a great pickup. Jake Cousins was a Rule 5 pick that we made in the offseason. He's been getting hammered by the home run ball. I'm going to keep him out there for a little bit more, but I can't tolerate much more of it. Thiago Vieira, he's been okay. Not a great season. Definitely better than last year in his limited time, but nothing too impressive. Hobie Milner just came off the IL. He was hurt. His ratings have started to diminish this season. He's a free agent after the year, so no big deal there. And Giovanni Gallegos got off to a really tough start to the year. Has been much better, but still not anything great so far. And Reed Garrett's been up and down. He has not been good when he's been up, getting killed by the home run ball. And then Jacob Mizorowski has been up and down. He was not good. I gave him 2 starts, and he just did not really pass the test. 6 overall appearances, ERA close to 8. I think there's better days ahead for him, but I don't think he's quite ready to start with his bad control. Evan McKendry came up and made a couple starts for us. One of them was good, one of them not so much. I guess they were actually both pretty middling now that I'm looking at it, but he's He's a guy who can come up and down when we need him. Robert Gasser hasn't pitched yet in the majors. Bradley Blaylock, same story with him, but I really like what we're seeing out of him in AAA. So he's like the next guy up if we need a arm. Uribe has been up and down. He's been solid when he's been up in the majors, so still really like him. And then none of these other guys have really made an impact of any sort. And then we go to the offense, which has been really, really freaking good this year. We are first in runs scored. A lot of that was with Correa and Churio in the lineup, but I mean, besides that, the offense has still been really solid. You can see Eugenio Suarez here. Signed him to a minor league deal this offseason, just kind of his depth. Did not play well in AAA, but when Correa went down, I believe I called Suarez up. And he split time at the beginning, but I mean, he had just had a 3 home run, 7 RBI game, hit a homer the game before. He's been killing it thus far, so he has the third base spot until he loses it at this point. Brock Wilkins up with the team right now. A prospect that I really like. Was hitting well enough in AAA. I was comfortable calling him up when Churio went down. So he hasn't gotten a ton of run yet. I do want to get him some more at-bats, though. Not really sure where he fits, though. Maybe he's our backup corner outfielder. Backup first baseman. I'd actually like to mix him in a bit in left field against lefties. And then we'll have him back up first base here. Just to get him a couple of more at-bats. But, he's been okay in 5 plate appearances so far. Juan Soto's been really good. I'd like the average to tick up a little bit, but maybe that's not the player that he is. But a 144 WRC+, definitely not going to complain about that. His defense has been fine out in right field, and we definitely need him. Makes that signing all the more important. Christian Yelich, man, he's been incredible. 11 home runs thus far. Already like half of what he hit last season in 138 games. WRC plus up at 127. The walk rate's good. The strikeout rate's right in line with where he's been. Just providing a little bit more pop this season. And he's been really good. His defense has been quite bad out in left field in 15 games, but we're kind of forced to play him out there at the moment. Our next best guy has been Tyler Black at second base. Little disappointed by how good he's been so far. 110 WRC plus is fine, but the defense at second base is really bad. I don't know. I think there's better days ahead for him, especially the BABIP's pretty low for a guy like a guy like this. You'd expect to have a pretty decent BABIP, good speed, good contact. So I think 300 might be a little bit low at this point. So we'll see how he continues to progress. Jefferson Kiro, number 27 prospect in baseball. He made the opening day roster. It was kind of just a backup and not really a critical part. He was going to mix in a lot against lefties, but he's been killing it. 113 WRC plus, great defense behind the plate. He hasn't shown too much, but he's been good. And the bat's been really solid too. So he's kind of taken over the everyday catcher role. William Contreras has moved to pretty much permanent DH. He's been backing up at catcher a little bit, and he's played a ton of catcher this year. But yeah, those two have kind of been in the lineup every day essentially, whether that be at DH or catcher. And Contreras got off to a really tough start. Has been much better recently. So definitely, I think better days are ahead for him. Rhys Hoskins got off to an incredible start to the year. His March and April were really good. So far in May, has really struggled. So we'll hope we get a little bit better out of him. Brandon Drury's been a really nice backup so far. Signed him to a minor league deal this offseason. He made the opening day roster. Blake Perkins has been good in limited time. Hasn't played too much though. Talked about Contreras. Garrett Mitchell got off to a really good start, at least I think. March and April were really good. Little bit, probably around league average hitter. And then so far in May has not been nearly as good. So an 88 WRC plus overall. But he's still good. He's a fine defensive center fielder. Right now, Bryce Terang's been really solid as our I guess he was our third baseman, now our everyday shortstop again. Yeah, he's just a solid player at this point. Like, he's not going to blow anyone away, but he's been good. Then Joey Ortiz has even been solid. So you can see, like, it's been a really good attack. No one really an abysmal hitter. Not even really like any below average hitters. I think Mitchell has, a lot of room to improve. William Contreras can definitely be a lot better. So even if like Kiro comes back down to earth and, Terrain gets a little bit worse, I think our offense is still in good shape. And I don't expect, Henio Suarez to be our best hitter of the season, putting a .8 WAR in 12 games. Holy crap. And I think his defense will get better too. But anyway, that is the check-in here in May. Of course, all kind of under this gloomy cloud of Correa and Churio going out for the year. But we'll try our best to make the playoffs this season. We'll see where we are in midseason and if we're going to make a push or anything, or if we wind up, maybe selling some of our rental players, maybe selling high on Suarez or someone like that, or Hoskins. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll be back with an update probably sometime in June. All right, folks, we are back. It's July 3rd, 2025, and things have really, really fallen apart here. The Brewers are 44-42. Still not horrible, but things are definitely trending downwards. Check out our month of June, 9-19. Just brutal. Our offense has come crashing down to earth as well. We're actually still fourth in run scored, but everything else isn't too pretty. The pitching has just not been able to figure itself out like I kind of thought it would. Probably has a lot to do with our defense. And, the offense overall has still not been like the issue by any means. Contreras has started to hit. That's good. Soto's been awesome. Even after a really rough stretch here, he's still having a great year. Yelich has definitely come back down to earth. But he's still been okay. Tyler Black has been okay, but not really that good. Suarez is still hitting a little bit, but everyone's just kind of ticked down a little bit. Kiro's still been really good, though. Where does this leave us? I don't think we're competing this year. I just don't think that's in the cards right now with Churio and Correa both out. The rotation's kind of been a shit show. Peralta's kind of turning things around, but he still hasn't been great this season. I still have faith in him, and he still has one more year of cheap control left. So I don't think he's a guy I'd deal, but Brandon Woodruff is very, very likely to be traded here as we approach the deadline. I have some trades that I've been looking at. I'm not sure if I'm ready to pull the trigger on them yet. I might look for some better deals as we move closer to the deadline. Teams get a little bit more desperate. DL Hall, man, he's been really disappointing. After a great season last year, the walk rate's ticked up a ton. The strikeouts are down. The home runs are up. So, not a guy I'm looking to trade yet, but we have to figure something out here. I think a lot of it has to do with the defense. Typically, I run out good defensive teams, so I don't have pitching issues. But we don't have the best arms here in the rotation, and our defense has been brutally bad. So most of where that defense comes from, it's not from Juan Soto. He's been, he hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad, and he brings enough of a bat. But Tyler Black at second base has just been totally unplayable there. So we have to make a decision on him and what his future is. Rhys Hoskins has been moved to DH. He has a negative zone rating at first base, which is not good. I'm playing William Contreras over at first base. Actually, I forgot to mention, I actually took Rhys Hoskins out of the lineup. He's hitting below league average with the bat. So I actually put Brock Wilken, who is hitting pretty well. I put him in as our everyday DH. Hoskins is still mixing in just a bit. We're just trying to figure something out there. This has just been a really, really tough season for us, and I don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel here this year. Next year and moving forward, definitely. We're missing probably our two most valuable players minus Juan Soto, maybe. So yeah, I mean, it's just been tough. So where am I looking for trades? One of them was with the Boston Red Sox. I actually really like this trade. So it's Brandon Woodruff, who we have a $20 million team option next year, assuming he opts out. He could also just opt in. Although I guess he can't really opt out. So if he opted in, we have the team option. So it's a mutual option. So he likely won't be back anyway. Even if he was to opt in, I don't know if I'd pick up that $20 million option on him. But yeah, he's a diminished version of his former self. Yusei Kikuchi's been demoted to the bullpen. He's been bad after a decent start for us. And then Carlos Rodriguez, who's a decent prospect, but nothing, the power just gives him no upside. And the return is Eduardo Quintero, who doesn't look like, he has a good upside at the bat. He's 19 years old, killing rookie ball. I don't know why they still have him down there. And the defense isn't great at catcher, but a really good defensive outfielder. He really intrigues me as a long-term, center fielder. Maybe he can catch. I don't know if he develops a little bit. And Isaac Coffey, a 25-year-old starting pitcher, not the best prospect in the world, but minor league filler that we could definitely use, and $5 million. So that's one deal. I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger today. Then we had one more. I don't remember what team it was. Oh, also, I never mentioned at the beginning of the year, the A's they stayed in Oakland, but they are now the Fighting Falcons. Funny name, but yeah, I don't remember what the other trade was with. Dang, I don't exactly remember. There's a prospect for prospect trade. Let me go off camera and see if I can hunt this down. We'll be back. Okay, so it was actually two trades. This one's still a work in progress, but it would be shipping out Devin Williams and Tyler Black, who, I don't know. It's tough to give him up because the upside at the bat is pretty significant, but the defense, man, it's just killer. We can't keep trotting him out at second base. So he's either corner outfielder or first baseman. We have our corner outfield kind of set at the moment. So maybe he hangs on and we don't trade him, but I really like this trade. So it would be Tanner Bibee. I've been saying Bibby, but after watching the Yankees game last night, it's definitely Bibee, as we got to him pretty good and took game 2. But anyway, yeah, a really solid arm, team controllable. So he's one of the guys that I liked, and also Gavin Williams, who's kind of just chilling in AAA for him at the moment. Pitched pretty well when he was up in the majors this year. Another guy that I like. And then the other trade was with the Angels. This one's a little bit more significant. Actually, it's not too much. It's not too more significant, but there's a lot of guys we're giving up here. So it's for Reed Detmers, who's really sucked this year, quite frankly. But the BABIP's really high. It was hurt most of last year. I think there's still a good pitcher in here, is what I'm saying, and he's on this freaking bargain of a deal for the next few seasons, so it really intrigues me in that regard, and his price is high. We'd be giving up Aaron Ashby in this deal, who, back-to-back kind of mediocre to bad seasons. Reed Garrett, who's just not been able to put it together for us this season, 9.15 ERA. I'm sure better days are ahead for him, but a guy that's not going to hold up this trade. Luke Adams, who is a top prospect in theory. I don't really think he's going to turn into much. Mike Bove, an interesting first base prospect. Bryce Terang, who's another significant player. Terang's one of these guys that has a lot of value at the moment. So I really want to pick my spot when I do decide to deal him. There's like a 95% chance he is dealt here at the deadline because his value is pretty high. He's ranked up there with some of our best players. If we go back to that Guardians trade that hasn't really been made yet, we're still kind of in the works. He's up here with guys that I value incredibly highly, and Terang's here as well. So it's we have to capitalize on this. And I've been tricked into thinking like, oh, like his value's high, like like maybe he'll get better. That typically doesn't happen, and usually I wind up getting screwed because I didn't deal them earlier. So it's just something to keep in mind. So like if I took out Terang in this deal, like do I really want to give up any of these guys for Reed Detmers? I don't know. The other option would be retaining some of this Ashby deal. I think that, yeah, it definitely drops the price, but like not that much. So, I don't know. I think Detmer's price is going to be a little bit too high at the moment, so I think the Guardians deal is a little bit more likely because this would just take throwing in Terang. So it'd be Williams, Black, Terang for 2 solid starters. Our GM does not like it, which I mean, I get it, but Tyler Black might be more valuable to them than he is for me at the moment, and Devin Williams is a free agent at the end of the year, so he's like 85% gone unless we really turn things around in the next 3 weeks. So these are not deals that I'm going to make right now. These are just, kind of feeling out the market, seeing what's going on. Typically more guys will become available as we get closer to the deadline. I don't think we're going to be buyers this year unless it's for a guy who's controllable for next season as well. I mean, a lot of those deals were for major league talent, but they're controllable guys. So yeah, one big piece of news is I kind of called my shot with Trevor McGill kind of falling back to earth, and yeah, he crashed down to earth. He had some just miserable performances. Let's check out his game log. So we got sent down here. So he had 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 2 runs. Like, just could not get anyone out. Like, he pitched a third of an inning here and didn't give up a run. Like, good job, dude. But his ERA ballooned from 3.63 to 6.85. And then went up to 6.83 once again after a couple good outings in a row. So I was kind of forced to demote him at that point. I think he'll be up before the end of the year, or he'll be traded. I'm not sure. I still like McGill, so I don't know if I want to give him up yet. But yeah, he definitely needed some time in the minors. Same with Reed Garrett. He's just not been good. And I don't know how much of this has to do with our defense. So another reason why a Tyler Black trade makes sense. Just like to show that we cannot trade Hoskins. I don't even know if anyone would eat 50% of the deal. Oh, someone would. Okay. Danny Watson's a decent prospect, too. So that would leave us on the hook for quite a bit of money next year. So, like, Danny Watson, can we get this down? Yeah. All right, so I think we can get out from under a lot of the Hoskins deal. And he's not even playing for us, so like, he's a fan favorite, so maybe that has some value, but he's just taking up a spot on the roster. I want to get Wilkin involved because he's, Rhys Hoskins, basically, but younger and cheaper. Contreras has been playing a lot of first base just because Kiro has kind of broken onto the scene here as a rookie. And yeah, we just don't, I don't know. It's very difficult right now to make any decisions on this team with these two guys kind of looming in the future, but not here right now. So I think this is kind of going to be a tank here, if we're being honest. So, and kind of realigning this team moving forward. So, yeah, we have the draft in just a few days. We'll come back for that. Yeah, we'll update at that point. Okay, so we're here. It is the first year player draft, and we're going to jump right into it. We are 48 and 46, mediocre last week or so. So let's jump into it and see what we got here. We have the 26th pick, $4 million slot. We do have a, compensation pick for Willy Adames. So let's start it. And see where we're at. So, see some nice college guys. We'll see if any of these dudes are around for our pick. We are pretty deep. Vance Honeycutt would be sick. That's like my ideal center fielder. Would not be shocked if he just went number 1. Oh, Ethan Holiday. Okay. He's not that great. Whatever. Brady Ebel, another high school guy. I mean, no one's off the board yet. There's Vance Honeycutt to the Yankees. Good for them, man. Although the strikeouts are an issue. I won't lie about that. But still going to be some decent players here on the board, I think, at 26. So really quickly look through some college guys because those guys tend to intrigue me a bit more. Low work ethic, low leader. I mean, he's a decent player. Jason Torres, underdeveloped for a 21-year-old. None of those guys really intrigue me too much. I think I'm on all hitters, so I'll go to pitchers after. Yeah, none of those guys are really any good. This guy's just got the lowest floor with that control, but everything else looks really good. He also has a bat as well. Interesting. Okay. Cruz Schoolcraft. Crazy name. I wonder if he's a real life prospect. Where is he? He's from Gulf Coast University, Florida Gulf Coast University. I thought that was a college, but apparently it's a high school as well. Low work ethic, low intelligence. Not a horrible arm. Another low work ethic, intelligence guy. Yikes. So, I mean, I'm not terribly intrigued by anyone here. So maybe it's best to just roll the dice on a high school guy. So right off the top of my list, probably Josh Gibbs. I like him. Lampkin's still interesting, but the personality is just bad. Jackson Peavy has high work ethic, high intelligence. Only 3 pitches though, and low home runs. So I don't know if that's really a fit. Yeah, this second draft's always pretty brutal. So, I'm happy we're gonna have a high pick theoretically next season, unless we go on a crazy run. Ooh, really like this guy, Sean Gamble. The leader, work ethic, intelligence, good defense, good bat. So Sean Gamble might have moved to the front. Gustavo Melendez. Like him as well. But the defense isn't quite there. Von Necker. I know he has a bat. Big power upside. Decent pitcher. Could be a good reliever, but probably not a starter. Anthony Peck Jr. Like him for his center field defense. Decent bat. Small guy, so probably won't ever develop any power, but he's durable. He's interesting enough. And Schaefer's all right. Matt Scott. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. So Matt Scott's actually, I don't hate this. Fastball, curveball, changeup. Not my ideal, 3-pitch guy. Everything else looks really good. The control's a little low, but good work ethic, good intelligence. A little bit older, a little bit farther ahead. Good build. So Matt Scott, low-key really like him. And then Chase Shores, unfortunately, has low work ethic, low intelligence. Besides that, he's pretty complete. Gage Wood, if only he wasn't a reliever. That sucks. Hudson Barrett, he's all right. Yeah, there's not too much here. So I think we're going to roll the dice with that shortstop with the high contact. Which one was that? Sean Gamble. Yeah, I think Sean Gamble's the pick here. Shoot for the upside. This could, he might never even make the majors because of his floor, but it's worth a shot with a weak draft class. Now we have another pick coming up. We could be a little bit safer here, or we can, kind of double down on our strategy and go with Which is the other guy that I liked before, if he's even here still. Landon Schaefer. Who was the other? Oh, what the heck? We got a supplemental. We didn't even get a supplemental first round pick. That sucks. Okay. It must have been a second round pick, right? Or unless we just never even got one. I definitely offered him the qualified offer. I don't know what happened with that. Do I even have... Yeah, okay, my emails do go that far. So let's check out... What the heck happened with that? He signed pretty early in the process. Oh, we got a supplemental second round pick. That sucks. And just, as an update for him, he's playing okay in San Francisco. Definitely not as good as last year for us. Okay, so Anthony Pack was a guy I liked. I think I'm going to go Anthony Pack here. Double down on the high schoolers. And now we have our supplemental pick. Jackson Peavy might be worth a run, even if he is a 3-pitch guy. Who was the other pitcher that I liked that had the... Had the bad work ethic and everything. I wonder if he's hanging around still. Jeez, this is brutal. Chilcutt, I picked him a couple times in last year's game and this year's game. I think he's usually turned into a decent player. Man, yeah, this is just tough. So, Liam Doyle, 4-pitch guy, really just the movement, the home runs and control isn't great. I think I'm gonna go Liam Doyle. I think I like him the most of any of the guys that I saw. I guess we can probably sort through a couple more. Let me do this off camera. We'll come back with the pick. All right, so we just finished up the draft. I wound up going through the rest of it because there wasn't too much to report on. So we wound up taking Zach Root in the supplemental second round pick. We went through that. Didn't have a third round pick because of the Soto signing. Jackson Peavy we wound up taking in the 4th. High upside. Good work ethic, good intelligence, whatever. Blake Illich, another high upside, high school arm. The control currently is an issue. We'll see if that ever develops. Fleming Hall, another high school arm. Von Necker, another high school arm. There's kind of a trend here. We took a ton of pitchers. Riley Kelly, like him quite a bit. Gavin Jones, an interesting upside guy. And then everything kind of went downhill from here. Corbin Dickerson. Taylor Tracy was like our last pick that I really liked, I think. Jax Bishop was okay. Colin McKinney was fine. And then, yeah, the rest of it's not even worth talking about. Maybe those guys eventually develop, but I'm doubtful of that. So, as we move toward the deadline, the guys kind of on the block are Tyler Black for the reasons we already discussed. Maybe... Eugenio Suarez, if he has any value. Brandon Woodruff for sure. Devin Williams for sure. So yeah, I'm going to look around for trades and we'll approach the deadline and go through whatever moves we make. Okay, so I promised some pretty big overhauls here at the deadline. And I have 2 trades lined up. One, I guess they're both pretty exciting for me personally at least. So the first deal will be trading longtime closer Devin Williams, free agent at the end of the year. We'll see, maybe if his price is right, we can bring him back next season. We're going to try to capitalize on his value. And Bryce Terang, who I mentioned has probably inflated value for some reason. A guy who's very highly coveted by their teams. Plays good defense. I see why, but not a guy that I'm going to hold on to probably long term. Also going to go Oliver Dunn, who's been in the minors the last few seasons for us, and Chad Patrick, a minor league reliever type. So in return, the big get is Tanner Bybee. Decided not to go after Gavin Williams as well. And I do prefer Bybee to Williams just because Gavin Williams does have an extra year of control, which is, pretty important. And I guess his major league success has been a little bit better, but I like Bybee's build as a control pitcher a little bit more. Hasn't been great this season or anything. Last year was okay. Williams does have another year of control, so but I just don't think he's as good of a pitcher. His FIP was better last year, and he's pitched well this year as well. And he has an extra year of control, but I don't know. I think Bybee's the better bet for what I like in a pitcher. We're also going to pick up Tyler Freeman kind of for free here. We need a guy to play second base, and why not him? He's a captain, leader, work ethic, intelligence, all the stuff you like. Is kind of Bryce Terang turned down a couple notches defensively, but offensively, very similar player. A little bit less of an eye, but still a decent player to get back in this trade. And then Miles Straw, we're going to pick him up. They're going to eat all of his contract, which is pretty crazy that the Guardians gave him this deal, but especially because I think he played one game this year up in the majors for them. But they're going to eat all of that contract, so we're basically getting a free Miles Straw, and I'll take that all day. He's a good defender, has some contact ability, I guess. And if we don't need him, we can just dump him for nothing. So that's the first trade, and the second trade is a freaking huge one. So go down to the Seattle Mariners, who I assume are competing. But also this trade makes sense for them too. It's a blockbuster. It's you see all the names over here. You see the one name over here. It's a 5-for-1. George Kirby will be coming back in return for us. Just a superstar pitcher. Always pitches really well in this game. He's only 27, has 3 years of control after this one. I did check on that because I was curious if he only had 2 or 3. And according to this, where is he? Kirby. Just freaking looking at this. There he is. He's 3 years of control after this. So 3 years of arbitration, going to be expensive, but it's still cheaper than an open market pitcher at the end of the day. The Mariners they're about in the same spot that we are. They probably have a better pitching staff, and they're looking to kind of add to their offense as well. So, they'll take a significant downgraded starting pitcher this season and moving forward with, we're going to send over Brandon Woodruff, so they're definitely getting a good player in return. He's pitched quite well this year, probably comparable to Kirby, but we talked about him and his contract impending. Maybe he opts out, and I don't even know if I'd pick up his team option, so it makes sense to deal him now. And then Tyler Black. This sucks to give him up, but you got to give up something to get something, and this was the best deal that I could find out there. A really good player. He'll probably be a nice first baseman for Seattle. Right now, I was rocking with Ty France over there, who has not been good. And I hope they play him at first base because he's not a second baseman, at least in my eyes. And that trade alone would have made it work. However, I was trying to dump some salary here, so we're going to throw in Rhys Hoskins, fan favorite, but has not played well this year. Really wasn't even that good last season either. It sucks to give him up, but he's making a lot of money this year and next year. We're at least able to get out of most of it. We're going to eat 30%, so $5 million, but we'll be out of 13, I guess $12.6 million would be out of, and all it took was throwing in Chad Patrick and Giovanni Gallegos, who I barely talked about, but yeah, his ratings have diminished. He doesn't throw hard anymore. It's not been really good this year at all, so and we also could add a Gallegos contract, which is not small this season. So our GM doesn't like it. I understand why. But Tyler Black he doesn't really fit with this team and what I like. I wish I could play him at first base, but we just have too many bodies over there in the corners and stuff, and the corner outfield. I guess we can move some of this around to open up a spot for him. But if we're gonna have Kiro and Contreras playing every day, it's like, where is Yelich playing? Where is Wilkin playing? So it's an extra asset that we have, that we're upgrading a part of our team that's not been good, which is our pitching. So, man, a huge roster overhaul today. But we're gonna pull the trigger on both of these trades. And I mean, where the heck did this deal go? Oh my God, did this delete? So it was Bryce Terang and Devin Williams for Tanner Bybee. That was the deal. Did I have something else in this deal? It doesn't even matter, I guess. So yeah, I mean, you look at it. I guess we don't even have to throw in. I mean, if we don't have to throw in Terang here, we can save that asset for another trade too. It's like Mike Boyve is a guy I like enough, but I don't think he's gonna stick as a major league player. So I'd rather give a Boyve here. And I assume Devin Williams is a deal breaker in this one. See if they'd eat that contract. It's not much, so yeah, it doesn't even matter. Okay, so this one will be Devin Williams, Mike Boyve for Tanner Bybee. And, we upgrade the pitching staff for not just this season, but next season as well. I don't think it's out of the question we even make like a playoff push here. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to do a lot of rearranging. Yusei Kikuchi's just been so bad. I need to get him out of there ASAP. I would also like to deal Ashby. He's making a lot of money. I like him as a reliever, but his contract's long. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. But yeah, I mean, this rotation's pretty good now. Like, I'm definitely comfortable with all these dudes in here. Bradley Blaylock is a guy I'm going to give a shot to. So yeah, that's the pitching. Hitting wise, I mean, we kind of took out a key piece of our lineup. And where the heck did he go? Oh, shoot. Okay, I didn't pick up. Crap, I didn't make the full trade there. Okay, that's fine. I'll see if I can do that in a separate deal. So it was... I mean, it wasn't even... Tyler Freeman wasn't like a guy that I was dying to have or anything. Yeah, that's fine. We'll hold off on that anyway. It wasn't... Yeah, that was insignificant. So we're going to pause here and keep moving forward. We'll probably have some more deals to announce in just a sec. All right, so the sell-off continues. We're trading Bryce Terang, Brandon Drury, who's been up with the team still, Reed Garrett, who is a very highly valuable player, but he's a reliever, 32 years old. You know, he could very well be a great player for the Red Sox, but, he's an older reliever, very controllable, though. Not a guy I really want to give up, but, I like the return that we're getting. Jason Pena and Felix Valerio. I like his bat, but his defense is just not there. We're going to flip them for the guy I've been talking about, Eduardo Quintero, the catcher / outfield hybrid type, kind of like a Dalton Varsho. He's young, crushing rookie ball. I think he'd be a good player potentially. And then Cash Mayfield, they're also gonna throw in him, 6th round pick last year. Got some decent upside as a lefty arm. Good enough build. Like the repertoire. So we're gonna throw a couple darts at these guys. Give up a mosh posh of players that I like, but don't necessarily fit in our long-term plans. So we're going to pull the trigger on that, and man, our Major League roster is just bare bones at this point. We're down to 9 hitters, still have 12 pitchers, though. And one guy that I'm going to call up is Trevor McGill. I think he's straightened himself out in AAA enough to justify coming back onto the team. Still want to deal Kikuchi if we can, still want to deal Ashby if we can, but those guys are like... I'll hang on to them if we can't get a good offer. We do need to fill out this lineup somehow, though. So we need a second baseman and shortstop, the two hardest positions. So we signed Gavin Lux to a minor league deal. I think we'll probably just slot him in at second for now. This definitely improves our infield defense, which is definitely struggling. Then Joey Ortiz, I think, is the other guy I'll give a shot to again. He was really bad when he was up with the team earlier this year, 46 WRC plus and 81 plate appearances. Just not going to cut it. But, we'll give him a shot here. See what he can do. We are going to need some more players, though, so there might be some smaller moves, maybe like a waiver wire claim, or Tyler Wade's making a little bit too much money, though. Don't really want to do that. There might be some guys. Yeah, there's some guys out here. So Christian Arroyo, who played really well for us last year, he could potentially play a role on this team. Brandon Crawford's not bad. There's plenty of guys we can just pick up to fill out this roster. I like Mike Tauchman, so I'm going to offer him a deal. Michael A. Taylor is a good defensive player. But yeah, this year is going to be about resetting and building for next season, which I think could be a good year if all goes well. Edmundo Sosa is actually going to get the call up here to fill out the offense. Garrett Hampson's played really well. I guess he's fallen off a bit, but he got off to a nice start. Nicky Lopez is a good defensive player, of course. So what do we need now? Sosa can at least, back up the infield competently enough for now. We do need we could use a corner outfielder. I think Blake Perkins can be fine as our backup outfielder. So maybe we actually carry an extra pitcher or two. Let's get an actual backup catcher as well. It doesn't even need to be good defensively. I think Xavier Warren's probably a good choice. Owen Miller's. I want to call up Owen Miller. And then we'll also do Xavier Warren's not even really a catcher, but he's crushing AAA pitching, so we'll call him up. We'll still keep Contreras as our backup catcher, but we'll try to mix in Xavier Warren a little bit. It's a couple different positions. Looks like he has a little bit of infield ratings. That's not bad. I think we can play him at spot starts at second base. Yeah, I'll set all these depth charts and everything. We'll come back if there's any more moves to be made. We're almost at the All-Star game, so we'll see who our representative is. Okay, so we are back. It's July 31st, 2025. Brewers are 55 and 52, playing pretty well since the deadline. We've been a little over 500, I think. That math comes out to. Or I guess we shouldn't say since the deadline, but since we made all those trades, we've been about 500. So pretty decent month of July, 12 and 10, definitely bouncing back from a rough June. And honestly, I think the way that we're playing, this team actually might have a shot at the playoffs, as crazy as that sounds, after we just dealt a ton of our team. But so far, George Kirby has been as advertised for the most part. Had a, good start, 7 innings, 4 runs here. Had a 6 2/3, 1 run. Had a rough game here, but I think there's definitely better games ahead for him. Super excited for him. Tanner Bybee has made 2 starts. They've been okay. He hasn't been anything special yet, but small sample. Not sure what to do with DL Hall yet. Is he a trade candidate potentially in the offseason? We'll see. Definitely not dealing him right now. I want to see how he finishes out the year after having a really good season last year. Just need to see a little bit more out of him. Bradley Blaylock's actually been quite good. The FIP is excellent through 5 starts, 7 total games this year. The ERA is just maybe a little bit unlucky. Yeah, we'll see about Bradley Blaylock. We're going to give him a couple more starts here at least. Freddie Peralta is definitely turning things around here. He's been solid here since we kind of called him out early in the season. We made a very under-the-radar move. Gabe Spire was out on the trade block, and he's a 30-year-old lefty reliever, has a couple of years of team control left, but he was pitching fantastic for the Mariners. And they were kind of just like, do you want to give him for nothing? So I gave up Lamar Sparks just to give him someone. They would have taken a 30-year-old minor leaguer or whatever, but I want to give them at least someone to make this trade make any sense. So we gave him up. And, he's a really, really nice reliever. And so far has pitched quite well in 4 1/3 innings. Trevor McGill's back up with the team. He's pitched much better since coming. since being recalled. Aaron Ashby's my closer at the moment, and pitching freaking crazy well so far in that role. Nick Robertson hasn't been great this season. We're hoping he'll be a little bit better in the second half. I think there's reason to think that will be the case. Hobie Milner, a guy I wouldn't mind trading, but I just don't think he has enough value. And he's been fine this season. We're not trying to completely tank. We're just trying to retool. Thiago Vieira is a guy teams had interest in. I still like him. He's 32 years old, but a ton of team control left. And even if he is out of options, I think it's a valuable piece to have. Uribe's been solid this season, although I'd like the K's to tick up just a little bit. He hasn't been anything great, but I think he has the potential to be, for sure. And then Mizorowski's been up with the team, and he'll probably continue to be up with the team for the rest of the year. I still don't know if he's a starter long term, but we'll definitely give him the rest of the year in the bullpen, see how he does. Lineup-wise, it's definitely not pretty. Juan Soto's been pretty much our only consistent hitter this year. He's been excellent. The defense has definitely fallen off, which has hurt us, I think. But we've tried to make improvements defensively around him to kind of negate that defensive impact. Christian Yelich has been definitely solid this season. On pace to hit 30 home runs, which would be really cool. His defense also hasn't been great in the corner, so corner outfield's been a tough spot. And then Garrett Mitchell, himself, he's had a down season offensively, not great in the outfield either. So we'll have to find a center fielder long term, but I think we can survive with these three guys for this season until Cheerio comes back. Brad Wilkins had one of the most interesting, large sample size. 174 plate appearances at this point, 180 average, but at 94 WRC plus, and this minuscule BABIP makes me think he might be in for a big second half here. Number 23 prospect in baseball at this point, which I don't think he was. He was number 74 coming in, so he was always a pretty high prospect, but he's at his highest right now. He's going to get a ton of playing time here down the stretch. He's pretty much our everyday first baseman. William Contreras has been fine this season, not quite as good as last year. Not really sure what's going on. Maybe it's just not catching every day or something. I'm not really sure. Suarez has still been solid, for getting him on a minor league deal this offseason. He's been a huge steal. We're going to keep him on the team for the rest of the season. I just don't think he has a ton of value. And then we just have a bunch of kind of fill-in guys down here. Xavier Warren hasn't done anything in 25 plate appearances so far in the majors. Edmundo Sosa has been rough. Lux hasn't been good. We signed him to a minor league deal, maybe a month or two ago. Probably a month ago. He hasn't done anything yet. He might have to get replaced. Joey Ortiz has been bad, but he's fine defensively over at shortstop. And then Blake Perkins also hasn't been great, but we don't have many better options at this point. We do have some guys I wouldn't mind calling up. Christian Arroyo is a nice player. Kevin Kiermaier, another good defensive center fielder. Maybe he's our guy down the stretch. He's been crushing AAA. Andrew Monastero, he's been killing AAA as well. Might be worth giving him a look. We did re-sign Colin Rea to a minor league deal. He hasn't pitched too much down there. Carlos Rodriguez is a guy I definitely want to give a shot to. Maybe when rosters expand. The stats in AAA have been great, but I love his ratings. This reminds me a lot of Tanner Houck. How he never really had the high overall ratings, but he was always a good pitcher because he has good individual ratings. And I'm not really sure why these don't compute to anything higher than a 45, but he's a guy I definitely like. Shane Smith is a guy to keep your eye on. He has really high trade value. Everyone wants this dude. I'm going to stick with him because he's a young reliever with team control. Something, the Brewers value in real life. And I want to, play similar to how the Brewers would go in real life, although they probably wouldn't sign Juan Soto, but, there's exceptions we make for this. Mike Tauchman, another guy we can call up. Robert Gasser, I'd like to give a look to. So just kind of a preview here to the second half. And we'll see if we wind up making a push or anything. I'm not expecting it, but I'd be pleasantly surprised if we did. Just looking around, there's not really too much out here for free agents or anything. I like Aaron Loop. Might be worth giving him a minor league look. See, Yadier Alvarez. Yeah, he's not any good. Okay, so we're at the deadline, and I don't think there's anything else to do. I was looking at a trade for like Zach Eflin just to be really cheeky and like, I don't know, see if we can get him on the cheap. I love Zach Eflin in real life and in this game. So maybe we'll try to sign him in the offseason, but he's been awesome this year. He'll probably price himself out, but I love his build. This is like my ideal pitcher. Basically what George Kirby is. Just toned down a little bit maybe, but even then it's probably a push. Yeah, they want it a lot, and he's just a rental anyway, so it's not really worth it. Chris Sale's a guy I'd look at if the price was right. Of course, they'd have to eat some of this deal, make this work. Oh yeah, they don't want anything for him. But I mean, we don't really even need another starter. It would be some offensive players that we would need. Really quick, let's just check the hitters. I already went through this, but Yandy Diaz isn't really a fit, although he's a great player. JP Crawford, they want way too much for him for whatever reason. Dylan Moore was a guy I looked at, having a low-key really nice year, and a decent player, versatile. They probably want a little bit too much for him. He's a rental. Luke Raley he's probably a push with anyone else we have on the team. We really need a middle infielder. I'm gonna go look around and see if I can find anything. We'll come back with any trades. So I looked around. There was basically nothing. I could not swing a deal for an infielder, so we're gonna have to roll with what we have. But I did find this interesting trade with the Angels. Chase Silseth, not having a great season for the Angels. But I like his ratings enough where I'm willing to give him a shot for the price that we're going to pay, which isn't too much. It's Taden Hall, who's an okay prospect, good eye, not much else. Carlos Rodriguez, who theoretically could be a decent player, but doesn't really have the outfield range to, like, this is a center fielder's build offensively, not really a corner outfielder. Then Gregory Barrios, who's an interesting prospect, but lacks any power and, bat to ball skills. He does have good avoids Ks, but low BABIP, just and low work ethic, low leader. So like not really playing too well. So not a guy I'm gonna hold off giving up in this deal. So we get a nice dart throw in Chase Silseth. I tried to get anyone out of them for an infielder that was anything decent. But like they just want, I don't know, they want to give up. They want us to give up a little too much for it. So, we're gonna pull off this trade. Who is this? Interesting. We're gonna pull off this trade. So, I was trying to get one other trade to go through with the White Sox. It was for AAA player. Not Jake Cousins, but I would like to see if he's available. Again, we wound up releasing him. He just wasn't really playing well for us in the majors. He wasn't horrible, but not a guy worth keeping around. But I was trying to get Dominic Fletcher. I really wanted him. Playing really well in AAA, or at least well enough with the bat and really good at the glove. But, man, they just wanted way too much for him. He's 27 years old. Maybe he gets... maybe he winds up as a free agent this offseason or something. We could pick him up, but definitely a guy I'm looking at. I should add him to my short list with any future moves or anything. But I was looking for a center fielder, but it just wasn't really working out. We'll pick up Silseth. We'll add to our pitching depth. Maybe this pushes DL Hall to the bullpen, or maybe Bradley Blaylock gets sent down. We'll see. But that's all we're going to do for this deadline. We've done a ton and kind of overhauled this team in a lot of ways, but I think we're still a good enough squad to potentially make the playoffs. The one massive hole is just the middle infield is just horrible. But we'll see what happens here in the second half, and we'll definitely come back and update at some point, early September most likely. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.